And good afternoon, everybody. I first encountered Power BI about 3 years ago when a company I was working with had their very expensive data warehousing tool die to some storage issues. We were looking at more than a week just to rebuild the data set, and these were for some incredibly important daily KPIs. We looked into Power BI as a quick, flexible, and much less expensive replacement. I spent about a weekend learning about the tool, and within a week had rewritten all of our mission critical KPIs and reports with much less processing time, and the reports were accessible to everyone from their tablets and phones. So let's explore how Power BI can help you gain insights into your data. Today we're going to cover what is Power BI, how to set up Power BI within Business Central, deploying Power BI content packs, enabling reports in Business Central, pinning a visual to make a dashboard that's accessible from a tablet or a phone. We're going to look at asking questions using the Intelligent Insights feature in Power BI called Q&A. We're going to actually generate a custom report with a visualization. And then I'm going to tell you where you can learn more about Power BI and its language DAX. And then we'll have some time for questions. So let's start out with what is Power BI. Power BI is a Microsoft data analytics tool that I believe is fairly easily adopted. It can use multiple data sources within a single report. It can do charts, graphs, or data reports, the classic printed report feature. It has a really great feature called export data to Excel. So you can export the underlying data from your visuals to an Excel format that your users will find attractive. It has three distinct components. It has a web component, it has a desktop component, and it has a mobile application component. Each of these things are individual software packages. Currently, Power BI is integrated and sold with Business Central. I did do some checking. Basic usage right now without Business Central is running $9.99 a month for the web subscription. The desktop application is free, all right, but the pricing has been changing over the last few years, so it's really important that if you're interested in moving beyond some of the basics, that you contact your software representative, us, or Microsoft for appropriate pricing. Power BI uses a very simple yet incredibly flexible format statements, very similar to Excel, that they're calling DAX. And in my mind, when I picture how Power BI works, it's kind of like Access got married to Excel and they had this wonderful reporting baby, all right? And I'm just really excited about the package. I enjoy it very much. So now we're gonna look a little bit at how to set up Power BI within Business Central. All right, so a couple of prerequisites. You have to have a Dynamics 365 Business Central account. We will be signing up for a Power BI account using the same email address and password. And then if you want to create your own reports that then get published or uploaded to Business Central, you'll need the desktop application, which you can get at the website address noted on the slide. So let's pop on over now to Business Central, all right, and take a look at how to set up Business Central for a first-time use. This process needs to be performed for each user, and each user will need to have a Power BI license. So when you first come into your unlicensed client, it'll say verifying your Power BI license, which it will not be able to find, okay? And you would go to Select Reports, and you'll see that you do not have a Power BI account, but you can get one at the following location. Clicking this link will take you out to Power BI, where you can click just sign in. Because you have a Business Central license, you automatically have the free Power BI license as well. So we're going to click sign in, and it's going to identify and recognize the account that we're signed into Business Central with. So we're just going to click sign in here. And it's going to take us through some would I like to share my information, and letting you know that by clicking start, your other people within your organization will be able to see that you've signed up for Power BI. So you're going to click start. And it's going to ask you if you want to invite more people. You can skip this. And it says, okay, you're all set up. Your license has been assigned. And it's going to take you to the web app. All right, now in the web app, there's a lot of different things to look at, but when we first get started, the easiest thing to do is to download the pre-made content packs, which are groups of reports based upon the data for your tenant. So if we click this Get Data down in the lower left-hand corner, we then select Services, and it takes us to the app source. On the app source, if you type Business Central in the search bar, it'll list for you the 10 different content packs that are currently available. Selecting a content pack, I kind of like the item list, all right, provides you with a description of what's in that content pack, and then you can click Get It Now. Now the tenant is being loaded. You're going to get a connect to company name. It's very important to note here that this is not the display name of your company in Business Central. It is the name of the company itself. So if you go back to Business Central, click your Tell Me What to Do icon and type the word companies. It is the name here, all right, that you're going to want to use. So Cronus USA Inc. And you're going to want to type that exactly. And you're going to say next. On this window, we don't need to do anything. We just click sign in. It does take a moment for it to go through and verify that you're in your correct account. And then sign in will become active again, and you'll click sign in. Now your content pack has been loaded. And if you go back into Business Central and you refresh your page, it's going to tell you that your reports are being deployed. Deployment is in progress. All right, at this point now, and as you work with reports at various times, you'll come back to Select Reports, and you'll enable the reports that you wish to be able to view within Business Central. So we're going to go ahead and enable the items sold by quantity by enabling and saying OK. And our report is going to come up on our screen. Now, as you enable more reports, you can move back and forth through reports by clicking Previous Report and Next Report. Okay, you can expand the report, which will allow you to pull it up into a larger window and work with it a bit more. Now, you'll notice when I blow it up here, I get many different options down across the bottom tabs for various parts of this report that might be interesting to work with and that I might want to look at. All right. Various parts of the report work in different ways. It is possible to click on a specific part of the report and show the data that is underlying. So not only can I see a specific item that's being sold, all right, I can now see the exact quantities. And if I chose, I can export that data to Excel or to a CSV file. Do note you can do underlying data, but there is a limit when you're using extremely large data sets that would prevent you from exporting more than, I believe it's 10,000 rows. So you do have to use some thought in terms of when export to Excel is used. But when it is utilized, it's a quick and easy way to pop that data right out to Excel. Now, back in Power BI, some of the interesting things that I can do now that my data has come in, all right, I have my report here, and I can open this report in Power BI. I can take something very interesting that I might like, perhaps this dashboard, and I can pin this live. By pinning live, what you're really doing is creating a dashboard, all right, that can be viewed in a variety of ways, particularly from tablets and from phones, all right, and you can create dashboards with a variety of different tiles on them. So you can have one tile that perhaps has your item data, another one that perhaps has sales data more related to your customers. Perhaps you've developed a wonderful KPI about your commissions. All of those things can be brought out onto your dashboards, and then these dashboards can be viewed in many different ways, all right, from a variety of different devices. A very interesting thing about this, as Power BI is transforming your data into a dashboard, it's also learning about your data. So you can now come to the Q&A feature that says, okay, show me quantities sold. And as I type, I'm being given the information that I asked for. So you can ask questions regarding your data about things that may not even be displayed in the data, provided that the data is actually in the dashboard that you're asking the question about. As you're building these dashboards, they actually do come up with an insights panel that allows you to view insights about the data called Get Quick Insights. Under the Get Quick Insights, you'll actually find a variety of things that you can learn about your data, okay, or create other dashboards from the insights that are provided. Insights sometimes can take a little bit to come up, all right, but once they do, they can actually be quite interesting. So you can actually learn things about your data that you didn't even know you needed to ask. It's a really wonderful tool that's just incredibly flexible. So now going back to my dashboard, all right, and actually I'm going to skip right on back to my report, all right, to look at a couple of other things. We can actually take our report and save a copy of it, all right, and edit it and modify it to be something different. All right, we can take this report and go ahead and export it to PDF or a variety of other formats, or we can download a copy to be used in the local desktop application. So there's a great deal of things that you can do with Power BI just natively, all right, that just make it a wonderful tool. Now at this point, what I'd like to do is kind of switch on over to the desktop application, all right, and work a little bit with creating a custom report. So let's do that. Let's go into Power BI's desktop application. Okay, and to work with a custom report, you're going to want to get data, and we're going to click More. We're going to select Online Services, and then click Dynamics 365 Business Central, and click Connect. The program is going to recognize that I'm signed in as Mod Administrator, so it will already know what my permissions should be. Excuse me for my clicking error here. So we're going to go ahead and open up the data set. And it's going to provide us with a list of queries that we might want to use to generate a report. And I'm going to go ahead and just select a few things here. Item ledger entries, item sales by customer, and value entries. Now, typically when I'm writing a report, I bring all of the fields of the data with me in my first run of the report. And then once I'm happy with how I've gotten the report looking, I would come back and use the Edit Queries feature to perhaps remove some of the extraneous columns that I'm not utilizing. This is important as it allows the efficient loading of the data to your reports and cuts down on processing time for your users. Now, once this comes in, the next thing that I'm going to need to do is connect the various fields of the various tables so that I can provide correct relationships. Power BI is going to kind of try to detect them for me, but I'm not going to like the way that it did it. So I'm going to go ahead and change a few of them. Let's just take a look and see what it's got here. It will show me what fields it's utilizing, and name is fine. And then we're going to go entry number to entry number is correct, and this one is not. We're going to delete this connection. And create a new one. Item ledger entry number to entry number. Okay, so now that we have the relationships defined that we would like, we're going to go ahead and create a very simple report by simply placing our posting date as our first value. Notice it's going to pop out a date hierarchy for me. I can eliminate different portions of this date hierarchy, but they will provide important drill down features to my report. So I'm actually going to leave them in place for just a moment. And actually, I'm probably going to leave them in place altogether. All right, I'm going to add now my item number. I'm going to go ahead and add my cost amount actual. I'm going to add my sales amount actual. And I'm going to go ahead and add my customer name. So I've done that. You can see that I've developed all of my data very quickly here. And this is actually kind of a report already. All right. Now I can take this and say, you know what? I do not want to, I only want to see certain documents. So now I'm going to take document type from my value entries. And I'm going to place that as a visual level filter and say I only want sales invoices. And it's going to limit my data down to just those value entries that were related to sales. Now, let's say I want to take this data and make a quick visual out of it. So I'm going to copy it, just good old copy, Control C. I'm going to create a new tab, and I'm going to go ahead and place my data. I'm going to change this to a stacked column and line chart. All right, in my columns, I'm going to have items, that's fine. I'm going to take my names though, and I'm going to actually turn that into a slicer so that my users can select which customers they'd like to look at. I am going to create a quantity for my line. And because quantities are negative for sales, I'm going to actually create a new measure. And we're actually going to call this quantity. Clicking the check mark is going to validate my formula and update my measure. And then I'm going to take quantity sold and make that my line value. Now I can use my double down arrow to allow me to move into different time frames based upon the date hierarchy. I can kind of see why I left it there. And I can click my customer filter to allow me to filter through a variety of customers. And I'm actually going to switch something here. I'm going to make my cost amount my sales amount. There we go. That looks much better. And you can see I can now click up and down through the time frames and get a really good idea of what each customer was doing with each item in each period. Now I might want to save this report, so I'm going to do a File Save As, and I am going to call this Business Central Items by Customer. And I'm going to save this. Now I'm going to publish this so that I can go back and pick it up either on the web as a dashboard or in Business Central. So I'm going to say, go ahead and publish this to my workspace. And it's going to put it in that web workspace that we were looking at earlier. And now I can also pick it up in Power BI. Now I'm going to switch my log on here so that I'm logged on as the same individual that created the report. Let's just go ahead and open up a new window here. Now I'm going to go and enable my report just like I did when I initiated the content pack. So I'm going to come to my Power BI. I'm going to do Select Reports. And I am going to find Business Central Item by Customer. And notice there's my report. So now I can expand my report and work with it just like I would if I were in Power BI. I can go ahead and add slicers, select different customers, and view my data in any way I'd like. All right, so now let's take a look at where we would get more information about Power BI, and let's just flip through these slides here. For those of you that might want to come back later, the slide deck does walk through step by step all of the things that we've done in this session, including how to save and publish your report, enabling it in Power BI, and then learning more about Power BI. So one of the things that I can say is, unlike a lot of software training videos, the training videos for Power BI are extremely useful and very powerful. I was able to pick up a great deal about the tool within a very short period of time. The tool is updated regularly. There's wonderful, wonderful App Store content for graphs and charts and things that you might like to use that are freeware. It's just a really, really fabulous program. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Yes, we did have a few questions come in. The first one is, how does Power BI work with Business Central's securities?
Really good question. So the securities that you have in Business Central are reflected out to Power BI. All right, and you cannot view a Power BI report unless you have access to its query. So if you wanted to give someone access to Power BI, but only to certain types of data, you would limit the queries that they can see.
Okay, our next question is, can I use data from other sources at the same time I'm using Business Central,
You
like
can
from Excel? Oh, sorry.
You can, absolutely. So when we pull the content from the queries, we can also do another get data retrieval and pull, say, an Excel spreadsheet. And as long as you can draw that link between the Business Central table and your spreadsheet, so in other words, create a key, the data can be then utilized and linked into your report. So you can pretty much there was a wide range of data sources out there, just huge, and they're adding more every day. So good question.
Hey, and another question that came in, once I have the desktop client, can I save and share reports locally without publishing them to the web?
You absolutely can do that. That is one of the ways that the program can be utilized in a free fashion. So in other words, you don't even have the subscription fee if you don't have Business Central. If you're perhaps using a nav client, you can download that desktop application. You can hook up to your data source, your nav database through OData or through WebSource, and then go ahead and save those reports and share them locally. The one thing you would not be able to do would be able to view those on tablets and phones because that really requires the web client to do so.
All right. If there are no additional questions, I would like to thank you all for attending today's presentation. And thank you so much, Murphy, for giving us a great overview on Power BI and Dynamics 365 Business Central. If any later questions do come up, please feel free to reach out to either Murphy or our team. And you will be seeing a follow-up email with a link to the recording of this webinar. Uh, Thanks again, everyone, and we hope you have a great rest of your day and a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks. Bye-bye.